Yellow. This picture or painting was done in the first century by one of the greatest church fathers. His name is John Chrysostom. It has a blemish here, which should be fixed. But this is his right arm and hand here, pointing to the fig tree. It is a picture of Jesus cursing the fig tree. Now this disciple here, he's wearing an outer red robe with an inner blue robe. And he's gesturing here with his left and right arm, saying this incident by Jesus has a lower literal and a higher symbolic meaning. This second disciple here behind him is referring to him over here, and he's looking back at the disciple behind him, and he's saying to this disciple, do you know the higher symbolic meaning of Jesus cursing the fig tree? And he says he doesn't. See his right arm here? He's saying I don't, because he's reaching over with his left arm and saying, no, I don't know. I know the lower meaning, but I don't know the higher meaning. Now, Matthew, or say in the book of Matthew, Matthew says, when Jesus cursed the fig tree, it immediately withered away and died. Now, what does that mean? It means that Jesus taught and was a proponent of the principle of the death penalty. Now, the reason that he gave, this fig tree did not bear fruit. And that represents a person who uses his life on earth not to do anything good, not to produce anything good. It represents a person who uses his life on earth to do bad things or commit crimes. And these leaves are leaves falling down here. Now you see the garment here of Jesus, see how it is pointing to these leaves here? That represents different reasons for the death penalty. Now, in Jesus' left arm here, he holds a stick, or a rod, or you could even call it a sign. And that stick means he's looking at his disciples and he's saying to them, the principle of the death penalty for certain crimes is a principle of mine. Now this may shock some people. Now, this Merlon up here on this wall represents a law that protects you. Now, we're moving in this direction. See how they're slanted? Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. So this happens prior to Jesus entering Jerusalem on this day. Now this is a law as it exists before this incident. You see these two lines right here and this one sign right here? That represents this law violates one, see this sign right here? One of these two principles, either carnal or divine. You see up here, it's not foursquare. It's not fair on all sides. You see the top of it here? It's slanted. So, we're going to move to the next Merlon here, and it has a different design on the top. And it represents making the law based on the teachings of Jesus in the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, Matthew, Mark, and Luke have a different version of this incident. This also appears in the book of John, the fig tree. In one verse, the fig tree is mentioned. It's chapter 1, 48, when Nathanael asked Jesus, "How do you know me?" He says, "I saw you under the fig tree." Now, in Christian art, Nathanael is generally seen sitting under the tree. And that means that he was meditating on the teachings of Jesus, represented by the fig tree. Now we're going to move over here to this next sign. There's two of them here. These are laws that are not foursquare. This sign right here is broken. They're either incomplete or defective, or they're slanted, bias. Now these can be fixed because laws are made by man, and it's up to man to make those laws. They're not permanent. Now, this next sign here, complex one, is a Capitol building in the middle of this sign over here. Making the law, because this is the government here, based on the teachings. See these four towers? Well, there's three towers here. One is missing here. It's covered up by this mountain here. Based on the teachings of the four Gospels, teachings of Jesus in the four Gospels. Now this Capitol building here represents using your mind and spirit in your three eyes to make the laws. In particular, see the sign up here? The principle of Jesus here of capital punishment for certain crimes. Now, this building right here is a Capitol building where lawmakers make laws represented by these houses here. Now, houses represent laws made by man because they protect you and help you to do what you want to do. There are laws protecting the religious person and the non-religious person, and male and female. Fair laws. So a person can practice his religion, and he also can live a natural life or be carnal-minded. Now both of these are necessary, and you're not condemned because you don't practice the higher law. Now, this mountain right here, you see here at the top, the picture's a little bit blurred because when it's enlarged, it's not as clear. But these are stones or rocks up here, and they're not completely square. and represents the laws of this world which are imperfect. They need to be improved. They're defective, or they're not fair or foursquare. Foursquare means they're fair on all six sides. You see, this right here is this building right here has 6 different sides. You have to make the law fair on all sides. Male, female, carnal, and divine. It has to be according to science also. And it has to agree with the higher laws. Well, those are the 6 different sides. And it's generally, 6 sides has to do with also sex. Now, Jesus says, you can get rid of this mountain. Now, we're not particularly talking about the laws of America, which are not perfect, but in some countries they're much worse. So you look at this mountain from this perspective of what country that you're living in. Jesus says you can get rid of it and cast it into the sea, because man is endowed and he's responsible for making those laws on earth. But you have to have the faith of Jesus. You have to have his determination, and you have to have a following. You have to be the leader of a movement to do that. Now this sign right here, the halo of Jesus, it's not real clear here, but it's a tower, upright and horizontal here on both sides. Making the law fair, and generally here we're speaking about human rights, carnal and divine, or male and female. You need enlightenment, illumination, human and divine. Jesus had the enlightenment here of the Son of God. Now, I'm looking at this picture here, and I believe that I've covered everything. I'm going to, if you want some more information on this subject, go to my website here, revelations5.com, and on the menu, click on the menu and scroll down. There's a list of topics there until you come to the cursing of the fig tree by Jesus. And I have posted 2 different pictures on the Jesus cursing the fig tree, and also the parable of the fig tree that's found in the book of Luke. I just posted them this week, so they're new. That's my message for today.